Skyrim's crafting system is deep and intricate, with a huge amount of different things that you can create. But I've never really used it that much before, and on top of never really using crafting, I've never played the game on legendary difficulty before. So today, I will be attempting to beat Skyrim with only crafted items on legendary difficulty. Before we can continue, I need to create a character. I selected an orc for the buff to my smithing and enchanting skills, and while I'm making the orc look like a character from a similar but very different game, let me fill you in on the rules for this challenge. First of all, I have to be on legendary difficulty for the entire playthrough. Second, I'm only allowed to use weapons, armor, and consumables that I craft myself. And consumables for this challenge includes things like potions, poisons, food, and stuff like that. And the third rule is that I am not allowed to use any magic or shouts, except for when the main story requires me to. And I mean, my character is done, so I named him Steve and went to go get my head lopped off. Thomas interrupted the execution though, which means I now have control of my character and the challenge has begun. I followed Ralof the Stormcloak into the keep, and he freed my hands, which is great because now I can go into my inventory and remove these clothes that my character was wearing, because I didn't craft them, so I don't want them. There's not really any fighting I can do while I make my way out of Helgen, because the only way I can attack is with my fists, and I didn't craft my fists, they grew there all by themselves. So I just ran past all of the Imperials and all of the spiders until I made it out of the cave and entered the open world. The first place I need to go is Riverwood to visit the blacksmith. I helped him out by crafting a dagger and a helmet with resources he gave me for free, and he let me keep them. So now I have a knife and a hat. A knife and a hat just isn't going to be good enough though. So I purchased some materials from the blacksmith and used them to craft myself an iron battle axe, some iron armor, and some boots. Then I headed over to the inn to experiment with some of the alchemy ingredients that I've picked up. Now usually I would be able to taste test the ingredients to get some idea of what they do, but I'm counting tasting ingredients as using uncrafted consumables. So unfortunately I won't be able to do that. And I also don't want to spend a heap of time on the wiki just to remember what all the ingredients do, so I just searched up what I need to make health potions and will be driving blind into trees for the rest of our alchemy journey today. Speaking of journeys, it's time I head over to Whiterun. I ran into a crab on my way and decided that that'll be a perfect enemy to test out my new axe on. And it one-tapped me, so the results of the test are pretty conclusive. On legendary difficulty, I should not mess with mud crabs. When I arrived at Whiterun, I didn't go into the city straight away. First, I walked around to all of the surrounding farms and looted them for all of their wheat, because wheat is used in health potions, and I'm definitely going to need a lot of health potions in this run. When I entered the city, I went straight up to Dragon's Reach and crafted my first couple health potions using wheat and butterfly wings. Then, let the Jarl know that I was at Helgen during the tank engine attack. He sent me to talk to his court wizard, who wants me to go get the Dragonstone, which I was gonna do that anyway, so he did not need to tell me to do that, but I may as well go do that now. On my way out, I stopped by the War Maiden to buy myself some iron and craft myself some iron gauntlets, so that I have a full set of armor, then went straight to Bleak Falls Barrow to get that Dragonstone. And as it turns out, combat on legendary difficulty is really hard. I die in a few hits, and it takes a lot more hits than that to take out just a basic bandit, which makes me very frightened by the fact that I have to fight several dragons during this playthrough. I died quite a lot of times fighting the bandit, but I managed to win the fight by using a level up to heal once I got on super low health. I continued fighting until I got to the giant frostbite spider, because I don't like spiders. So I'm not planning on spending the next 20 minutes fighting one. So I ran past it and killed Arvel the Not So Swift before running through the rest of the dungeon without really fighting any of the Draugrs until I came across the Draugr Deathlord. And I really don't think I'm going to be able to fight this guy yet. I only have 6 healing potions and I die in about 1 or 2 hits. But while I was going through the dungeon, I unlocked the Steel Smithing perk and collected a bunch of loot to sell. So I just left the barrows to go do some smithing, so that I can have a less painful time with this Death Lord, even though it means that I will unfortunately have to go through the entire barrows again to get back to the Death Lord. I was able to craft up a couple of fortify health potions and build and upgrade a full set of steel armor, as well as a steel mace. I had to visit 2 blacksmiths to find enough steel to buy, but that's not really an issue, and I'll be doing that a lot throughout this playthrough. Back at the barrows, I made sure to utilize my fancy new shiny stuff to play things a bit more aggressive this time around, and I killed just about every Draugr in the dungeon. I skipped the spider though. I definitely didn't want to fight the spider, but the Overlord still wasn't easy to beat by any means, but it would have been a lot worse if I didn't go to get all those upgrades, so I am glad that I did that. And after a little while of fighting, the Overlord is finally defeated. And I decided that Farengar is weird and annoying and doesn't deserve a Dragonstone. So instead, I joined the Companions, because I want to be able to train my smithing skill. And I can do that here in Whiterun if I just join the Companions. Thankfully, I don't have to do any big quests to join these werewolf weirdos. I just have to talk to some people, whack this guy with my mace, and get his dagger sharpened by their blacksmith. And now I'm a companion. So I leveled up my smithing skill a bit, and I guess I have to give Farengar the Dragonstone now to continue the main quest. He appreciates it, and now I have to go slay a dragon. I was right to be concerned about fighting a dragon. It was very difficult, and I died a lot of times. And I'm still talking right now so that there's more time to show clips of me dying, because there are a lot of these clips of me dying. Look at them all. I just keep dying. But by running away to the watchtower when I'm low on health and save scumming, I was able to kill the dragon. And I killed it so hard that it's bones now. And apparently turning a dragon into bones is not something everyone can do. So the magic wizards of the Magic Wizard Mountain use their magic powers to magically call out to me and tell me to go to their magic mountain to talk about magic stuff. So I guess I'm doing that now. On my journey to the Magic Mountain, I ran into all sorts of whimsical little things. I saw an orc who requested that I grant him an honorable death, something I was definitely not very qualified to supply him with. Then I saw Maik the Liar, who I was definitely qualified to kill. But then I saw an assassin who I had to go off the road to avoid, because I am nowhere near qualified enough to fight them, let alone kill them. And now I'm in Ivarstead, so I took all of their wheat, which will surely lead to them all suffering a great hunger and losing many people during the winter. But they don't seem too worried by that, so I just left the doomed town and started going up the 700 magical steps to get to the top of the magical mountain. The journey was nice and easy. Outside of one death, nothing much happened. And in the magical mountain temple, I yelled at an old man, and he was so intimidated by it that he gathered all of his friends, and they taught me how to yell even harder and how to yell even faster. To learn more from them though, I need to go collect the horn of Jurgen Windcaller. I went straight to Ustengrav to grab the horn, and I just ran past all of the enemies on my way to where the horn should be, because I'm not fighting them. Are you crazy? I'll just die. That wouldn't be very smart of me. But when I got to where the horn should be, as always, it wasn't there, and there's a note telling me to go meet someone in Riverhood to get the horn. I did actually fight some Draugr on my way out, just to make sure that you don't think I'm completely useless. When I left and returned to Whiterun though, there was a problem. Mirax cultists from the Dragonborn DLC are here to attack me. I tried to wait so that I could avoid them, but that didn't work. I'm going to need to fight these guys. Well, when I say fight these guys, I mean watch the guards fight them, because skipping to daytime may not have gotten them to go away, but it does mean there are more guards around, which isn't what I was going for, but I sure am glad that it happened like that. I did put in a few token hits against the cultists, just so that I contributed, but their attacks hurt me a lot more than my attacks hurt them, and I like to watch anyway, so I didn't attack all that much. After they were defeated, I paid to level my smithing skill up to 30, which means I can buy the Dwarven smithing skill, and I used that skill to get some Dwarven armor and a Dwarven war axe, which should be very helpful moving forward. Next, I went to Riverwood and talked to Delphine. She said a bunch of stuff that I don't really care about, but the takeaway is that I have to go kill a dragon with her. So, I looted her secret room and sold all of that stuff and used the money to enchant my dwarven axe. Now it's time to go kill a dragon with Delphine. And this fight wasn't too bad because Delphine is here. So I can just hide behind a rock and wait until I hear the dragon attack Delphine and then start attacking it. Because once it's locked onto her, it usually doesn't switch to attacking me as long as I don't get too close to its head or its tail. That being said, I died a lot of times, and it took me quite a while to kill the dragon. But with it dead, I can talk to Delphine about what my next move on dealing with the whole dragon menace is, because that's the main story of the game. And because of Delphine's political beliefs, she believes that the Thalmor are somehow involved in the dragons, so now it's time for me to sneak into a party at the Thalmor embassy and snoop around for information. And I'll do that, but not yet. First, I'm heading to Riften to fail to reverse pickpocket a ring for Brynjolf, because I didn't realize that you don't actually have to do this in the main quest until while I was writing this script. And now I'm recording this voiceover, so it is definitely too late to avoid helping out Brynjolf now. Before going to the embassy, I also completed building and upgrading my dwarven gear, and I crafted a few more health potions. But let me just cut to the chase here. Having a full dwarven set of gear and a few more potions made absolutely zero difference when I got to the embassy. I don't have enough sneak skill to get through any of this stealthily, and I just don't have enough damage output, armor score, or health potions to deal with any of the fighting at all. So I'm going to need to load an earlier save and do some more prep work before I take on the embassy. And the worst bit is, I forgot to save before I went to the embassy. And my most recent save is from right before I fought that dragon with Delphine earlier. So, on top of unlocking and building orcish armor, leveling up a bunch of my skills, and crafting potions, I have to redo a whole bunch of stuff that I've already done. I won't go into huge detail on everything I did while I was working towards these goals, but I will tell you everything interesting that happened. I cleared out some extorting bandits because extortion is bad. Then I crafted 9 fortify health potions, fought some spooky ghosts, and said hello to Esbern to let him know that I'll be coming for his delicious old man toes soon. Next, I nearly, so very nearly, killed a Hagraven, found a mysterious keep that I'm not allowed inside of, that I will not be attempting to get inside of because I'm not allowed in there, discovered that master vampires are very, very powerful, enchanted a new war axe with a fire spell instead of the frost one I had earlier. Then I decided that I'm going to go try the Thalmor embassy again now. All of that work took well over 3 hours, and I leveled up 6 times, and leveled up skills a lot more times than that. I don't have the orcish armor I wanted, so hopefully even without the orcish armor, this will be good enough. And if you think 3.5 hours preparing for the Thalmor embassy is bad, you have no idea what's coming up later in the video. And things aren't exactly easy at the Thalmor embassy now, but I can actually kill and fight the Thalmor. And all this fighting isn't leading me to discovering that the Thalmor are secretly behind the dragons, but it's also not leading to my immediate death. So things have definitely improved a lot, even though I never got that orcish armor. In fact, I could kill things so good that I managed to save Malborn. I just killed all the Thalmor that captured him before they could do the execution, which I actually don't think I've ever done before, so it's very funny that the first time I've managed to save him is on legendary difficulty. He didn't appreciate being rescued though, and in hindsight, I should have killed him for that, but if we throw even more hindsight onto there, he's probably marked as essential, so I couldn't have. But I mean, it's done. After hours of prep work, I have beat the Thalmor embassy on legendary difficulty using only crafted items. So, I headed back to Whiterun to sell all of the embassy loot, then used the money to level my smithing up to 49, which is only 1 level away from unlocking that orcish smithing that I want so bad. Then I let Delphine know that I found a little black book about Esbern at the embassy, and she sent me to go collect Esbern. Before I left Riverwood, I managed to craft some potions to sell and get some cash. Enough cash that I was able to afford the final level of smithing that I need for orcish smithing. So I took the perk and smithed myself a smithed piece of orcish smithed armor. But enough smithing. it's time to head into the Ratway tunnels under Riften and find Esben, which wasn't particularly difficult outside of these first two guys down here who were absolutely brutal to fight, which is kind of weird. I don't understand why the two first people down here are the strongest. It just makes no sense. I'm going to sue Bethesda Game Studios for emotionally distressing me and just confusing my mental state with this. Anyway, other than those two, everyone else down here was pretty easy to take out, and that brings me to Esbern. And getting him to leave his little hidey hole with me isn't hard. But you remember the Thalmor, right? Our good old friends the Thalmor from like a minute ago. They're back, and running past them isn't working out very well, because there are a lot of them right at this door that I need to go through. So I'm going to need to do some fighting against them. And seeing as I just fought my way through the Thalmor embassy, at first you may foolishly think that things will be just as easy this time around. But if you think that, you are foolish, because there are a lot more wizards this time around. And not only is their magic very effective against me, but they summon Atronax to fight me, which it's just not very good at all. I did take out a few Thalmor soldiers, but I ended up going through that door that was blocked by enemies once it was no longer blocked by enemies, and made my escape, leaving Esbern behind to deal with all of the Thalmor, because he's only like at least 80 years old, so he should be fine. And he was fine, because as soon as I exited the Ratways, he appeared next to me. So this is one dangerous senior citizen. I shall be referring to him as Sir Esbern from now on, not out of respect or anything, but out of fear of what he's going to do with me if I don't call him Sir Esbern. Back in Riverwood, Sir Esbern and Delphine reunited, and Sir Esbern says to find out more about the dragon situation, we need to have a look at Alduin's Wall. So I guess Skyhaven Temple is our next destination. Before I go there though, I need to visit Whiterun, where I built myself an Orcish shield, Orcish helmet, and Orcish gauntlets. The fight through Skyhaven Temple isn't really much of a fight. There aren't a particularly large amount of enemies here, and Sir Esbern and Delphine are here to help me fight the enemies that are here. So I breezed through the temple and arrived at Alduin's Wall. Sir Esbern says that I need to learn the Dragon Rend shout to defeat Alduin, and the magical wizards of the Magical Wizard Mountain are kind of experts in shouting, so I went straight up to the Magical Mountain to talk to them. They were not happy with this request, so they all yelled at me really hard, but it turns out their boss is okay with me learning the shout. So the magical wizards taught me a shout that I had to use to get up to their boss, and ask him to teach me that magical Dragon Rend shout. He says he doesn't know it, which is brilliant, but if I get my hands on an Elder Scroll, then I should be able to use it to do a little bit of time travel shenanigans to learn the shout from some guys that are long dead. Before investigating the Elder Scroll, I stopped by Whiterun to craft some health potions, which I'm not actually using too much because I'm absolutely terrified about a fight coming up later, and I want to have as many health potions as possible when that happens. And with them brewed, I went to the library to look into the Elder Scrolls, then asked the cave hermit for more information. He says that the scroll should be in some Dwemer ruins, and he gave me a circle and a square to help me look for them. On the way to the ruins, I came across that assassin that I had a real hard time with earlier, and this time around, I was able to defeat them without too much trouble. So that really goes to show how I've progressed in this challenge, and I can't wait to see how much stronger I've become by the end of this video. The rest of the journey to the ruins was pretty uneventful, and in the ruins, it turns out that killing the little spider robots isn't an issue, and that's great. Less great though are dwarven spheres. I most definitely am not going to have an easy time fighting them. I tried standing on a table to win a fight against them, but that's just not going to work. So I started running, and I ran until I came across the Thalmor. And a little bit of behind the scenes info for you. At this point, my game has been open for over 13 hours, and there's kind of this salacious rumor going around. It's pretty under the table, not many people know about it. Bethesda games can be kind of buggy, and Skyrim is a Bethesda game, and this time around, the bugs are working in my favor. This Thalmor is just looking at a wall and can't attack me, making him very easy to kill. And that wasn't the only Thalmor like that. I got to kill a few of them like this, and you might be thinking, this is unfair and I should restart my game to fix the bug. But I disagree. The fact the game is buggy isn't my fault, and I'm more than happy to take advantage of the busted ass creation engine. But yeah, I'll agree, it is kind of unfair. I did, after a little while, come across working Thalmor, and they are a a lot harder to deal with than their busted compatriots. But my unmatched perspicacity, coupled with sheer indefatigability, makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. So I ran away, and I kept running, and that's gonna be my strategy for the rest of this dungeon. Things are just getting harder and harder, so running is going to be the best course of action. And I kept running all the way through Blackreach until I got to the Elder Scroll. So I used my circle and square to acquire it and exited the dungeon. And now that I'm out of the dungeon, I've got a little bit of work to do before I use the Elder Scroll. I made those orcish boots I still needed, enchanted my war axe with flames, and some jewelry I crafted with resist magic. Then I crafted some health potions and sold a bunch of the stuff I picked up over in the Dwemer ruins. There's not too much more for me to do, so I went up to the peak of the magical mountain and used the Elder Scroll to learn Dragonrend. But now I have to fight Alduin. And that's the fight I'm scared of and am saving my health potions for. It's not gonna be very easy. I died pretty much instantly. So instantly that I'm not even gonna try fighting him again right now. I need to be a lot stronger before I take on Alduin, and my plan for doing that is to get myself up to ebony gear, as well as grinding an absolute ton of health potions. So that will require spending the next 8 hours wandering around grinding dungeons to afford materials to craft iron daggers to level up my smithing skill, as well as getting as many healing potions as possible. I could probably do this in less than 8 hours, but I took the scenic route because I still want to enjoy myself. On this journey, I didn't get up to much that was of note. It was mostly just standard dungeons with draugrs and the like. But I did fight 2 dragons. The first one was just a normal fight against a normal dragon. Wasn't easy, wasn't hard, managed to take it out. The second dragon though, it was stuck in the ground and it didn't die when its health bar ran out. I just kept hitting it and my one-handed skill kept going up as I hit the half-dead, half-alive dragon. It did eventually play the kill animation and that little exploit ended, so that was weird, but I don't need to restart the game yet. Okay, I guess maybe I should restart the game. So I did that and continued grinding myself to ebony armor, getting all of the ebony ingots I need to craft the ebony armor, and of course, making a bunch of potions. And while this time lapse of all that is playing, let me fill you in on a little opportunity that you have. Chances are you're not a member on this channel, and that's a bit silly of you because members on this channel get a bunch of cool perks. If you were a member, you could be watching this video early before everyone else. You could have your name read out at the end of the video, and whenever you leave a comment, I'll make sure to reply to it. It costs $5 a month, Australian dollars. So, for all of you Americans, it's even cheaper. And if you want to support the channel, it's a great way to do it. So if you're interested, click the join button down below to become a member and get access to all of those perks. But I've got ebony armor now. Don't have the boots, but I do have a bunch of healing potions. So it's time to go back to the Magic Mountain and try Alduin again. The ebony armor is definitely a big help. I still have to be careful to avoid his frost breath as much as I can, but when it does hit me, I have enough healing potions to recover. So it's not the biggest deal if I get hit every now and then. It was a long and hard battle. I'm quick saving during the battle when the old worm flies away to avoid having to start from the beginning if I die. But once Alduin got on kind of low health, he stopped flying away and stayed on the ground to fight me. And that means I used a lot of healing potions. This took quite a while. My eyes were locked onto Alduin's health bar just as much as they were locked onto my own. And that's a bit of a problem actually, because I died right as Alduin's health bar emptied, so I'm going to have to do that whole last bit again. I was a lot more careful this time around, and that little slip up at the end didn't repeat itself. So now Alduin has been defeated, and well, I finished the fight against Alduin, but he is very much not defeated. I'm going to have to fight him again, but to do that, I need to go capture a dragon in Dragon's Reach. And the worst Jarl in all of Skyrim wants me to go to a stupid little peace council before I can capture a dragon in his house. When I went up to the Magic Mountain to do the peace council, the doors were all messed up and I couldn't go through them. So that was a bit alarming, but it turns out I can just walk through the messed up texture and get to the normal door. So that didn't actually end up being a super big deal, but I thought it was worth mentioning. The council was boring and long, and I gave everything to the Stormcloaks because I think it's funny. When I do my next Skyrim video, I'll give everything to the Imperials to keep it nice and fair. There's one last thing that I have to do before before I move on. I need to build my ebony boots. So I did that and headed up to Dragon's Reach to call Odahviing and talk to him about Alduin. When Odahviing arrived, I ended up having to go through a decent chunk of his health bar before he walked into the trap, which wasn't too much of an issue because I just used the strategy of waiting for him to be locked onto attacking someone else before making my move, just like I did when I fought a dragon with Delphine. And with Odahviing trapped, I laid down a hard save because I went through a lot of my health potions when I was fighting Alduin, so I'm not super confident when it comes to fighting through the final dungeon that we have left. But I'm gonna give it a shot anyway. I hopped onto Odahviing's back and flew to Skuldafn, and I just ran past all of the people outside because I don't want to waste time fighting them, and I made it into the temple. But I was kind of horizontal, not vertical, so I tried again, and this time things went a lot better. And I was planning on avoiding combat inside as well, but there are puzzles, and I don't want to have to deal with the puzzles with enemies trying to kill me. So I decided that I'm going to try taking out all the Draugrs. It definitely wasn't easy, but by splitting the enemies up and taking it slow when it came to dealing damage to them, making sure to stay out of their range as much as possible, it was definitely doable. The hardest one was this absolute bastard who kept using ice magic because I can't avoid getting ice thrown at me nearly as well as I can avoid swords and hammers. But I managed to take him out in the end and continued through the temple. That was until I came across a Draugr White Lord, which that's an issue, and I potentially could have beat him here, but I like wasting times for things to be easier because that's a lot easier than things being harder. So I loaded the save from before I went to Skuldafn to go get myself some more healing potions because healing potions are definitely my weakest link right now. My strategy to get alchemy ingredients, mainly blue mountain flowers, is to start at Helgen and follow the road all the way to Riften, picking flowers and anything else I see on my way. It was really just a nice peaceful walk on a lovely road, picking flowers, with the only real fighting being swatting wolves away with my axe when they get too close. And once I was satisfied with the amount of ingredients I collected, I went and started making potions. I used the ingredients that I collected that don't make healing potions to make other potions, and sold them to buy more health potion ingredients, visiting multiple alchemists across Skyrim to get this done. And after a lot of alchemy, I have a pretty nice stash of potions. I've also kept some fortify heavy armor potions and some damage health poisons because they definitely can't hurt. So I hopped back on Odahviing, flew back to Skuldafn, and did everything I did last time with one small exception. I leveled up and took the final rank of the Armsman perk this time around, because doing all of that alchemy meant that I went into Skuldafn with more XP than I did last time, and that increases my one-handed damage. So when I was back face to ugly face with the White Lord, it wasn't so bad. I honestly didn't even use that many of the potions that I'd prepared, because the extra damage was just a massive help. So it turned out to not be too bad in the end. And with him defeated, I can loot the diamond claw off of his body and continue through Skuldafn until I arrived at the portal to Sovngarde and jumped in. Before I can enter the Hall of Valor to get some dead guys to help me deal with Alduin, I have to defeat their bouncer. And I was having a bit of a struggle with that and died again and again and again and again. But then I remembered that I have heaps of health potions, and I'm probably not going to need that many of them to fight Alduin again, so I just started using a bunch of health potions while fighting, and that sure did help a lot. And now I can go have a chat with the guys that fought Alduin in that little Elder Scroll time travel thing from earlier, and get their assistance in defeating the Wicked Worm. We yelled at the sky until he came down to fight us, and this Alduin fight was easier than the first one because I have a bunch of help this time with these dead guys. So I just kept hitting Alduin over and over again, slowly chipping away at his huge health bar while he barely even attempted to attack me because he was too busy with the other guys. And after long enough, he exploded and I got sent back to the world of the living. And that is how I beat Skyrim with only crafted items on legendary difficulty. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. It really does mean a lot. And an extra special thanks to Insect Liquid for being a member on this channel. And one more thing before you go. I used a different microphone to record this video, so let me know if you prefer this mic or if you want me to go back to the one I was using. And other than that, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see what I do next, and I'll see you in the next one.